All right, so what we have right now is a confluence of events that's kind of created the situation. Number one, you've had record cold. I mean, this is, some of the coldest temperatures that we've had in 85 years in this 14-state Southwest Power Pool region. Number two is, because of those cold temperatures, some of the largest natural gas wells in the country, which are down in Texas and Oklahoma, their wellheads have frozen up, which has really tightened the supply of natural gas, both for home heating and also to be used as a generation fuel for electricity. And the third thing is the lack of wind. We have tremendous wind resources in the Southwest Power Pool, but if you look outside today, I mean, there's virtually no wind at all. So even those turbines are weatherized and they're ready to go with no wind, they can't generate. So it's these three factors all combining together is what's created the scarcity of energy right now in the Southwest Power Pool. So the way the curtailments work is this. Southwest Power Pool will say, hey, we're going to be short 2,000 megawatts of electricity across the entire 14-state region. And so then they'll go out to all utilities and give them a pro rata share of how much electricity to cut as a forced service reduction. So, for example, yesterday, Midwest Energy, our target was 14 megawatts of load that we were instructed to curtail. What we did is we prioritized 5 different chunks, if you will, circuits where we could shed electricity and hit 10 megawatt goals. So we had 5 chunks of oil field load primarily. And then there was a little bit of residential and farmstead mixed in with those, rural areas where the oil pumps are. But our goal was to impact non-critical facilities, hospitals, schools, residences. When the temperature is, negative 10, you can't go without power for too long. So we identified these chunks in preparation that SPP would come tell us, hey, you need to shed load. And indeed, that's what happened. So they came to us and said, shut off 14 megawatts. We shut off 3 circuits. Within 25 minutes, they came back and said, you can turn half of that load back on. So we went and turned 7 megawatts back on. The other 7 megawatts was out of power for about 74 minutes. That's the only time we had to do it yesterday, and hopefully that's the only time we'll have to do it through this period. So the Southwest Power Pool has 3 energy emergency levels. Level 1 is where they stop exporting electricity outside of SPP to adjoining transmission regulators. Step 2, level 2, is where they issue what's called voluntary appeals for conservation, and that's where we're at right now. We're in level 2. We're asking consumers to stop using high energy appliances like clothes dryers, ovens, washing machines, things like that, things that you can delay for a day or two without too much inconvenience. Level 3 is where we were yesterday, and that's where Southwest Power Pool can order mandatory curtailments. And when Southwest Power Pool tells utilities that you need to shed X number of megawatts, you have to do that. You don't have the option of just, we're conserving, we're doing our part. You have to impose those. If you don't, it can lead to what's called cascading blackouts. And that's where the system is stressed and overloaded. It will trip off, just like a circuit breaker in your house. And when one section trips off, so does the next, so does the next. It cascades, and you have this massive blackout. It's only happened a few times in American history, but it can take days or even weeks to recover from those, because when it happens, you can damage switching and transformer equipment. And transformers, unfortunately, are not something that utilities keep around just because they're very, very expensive. You don't keep a ready supply of those like you do poles or wires. It can take months or even years to have a transformer built. So that's the whole purpose of conservation, is to keep those cascading outages at bay, to keep any damage from the system from happening. If we can take, a 20-minute or even up to a 2-hour outage in these temperatures, that's much more preferable than to having an outage that lasts for a week.